Hey, welcome to another Becoming a Modern Man. This time we're playing Blue, White, Red Gifts Control. Looks like we're up at the top here. We won the roll, so we're going to be on the play. And Star Opener. We can resize it probably. There we go. So we've got Unburial Rites in our hand, which obviously isn't ideal, but we do have the Izzet Charm to potentially discard it. Spell Snare, Mana Leak, Cryptic. So I think we're going to keep this. Let's lead off with a Colonnade. Drops of Plains. Let's go play out the mountain here. Got Leak up and potentially Spell Snare. Come play Arbiter. Turns out he's on the Death&Taxes, which is fine. Definitely want to crack this fetch though soon. Just play Mirroring Crusader. We're going to use the Mana Leak on that. Could have waited and used the Path instead, but I'm happy to leak that. Plays an Arbiter. Again, I could path it, but I'm probably not going to. We use Izzet Charm to make sure we find our land drops, and then we are going to pass. We can path the Arbiter if we want to, but I feel like we might want to wait for him to commit some more stuff to the board, and then maybe use Day of Judgment. Also, our opponent, Coin from Fish, actually reads my articles and was looking for some ideas about how to play Death&Taxes. Apparently going to be playing in a Star City Games Open soon, so wish him luck with that. I'm trying to play Vile. I kind of want to draw a card, and I don't really want him dropping in creatures. He seems a little light on land, and I don't want him dropping in creatures at instant speed, really, particularly when we want to wrath him out. So I'm happy to counter that and draw a card. Just leave it with just removal, but creatures is pretty much the only thing he's got going on, I think, so reasonably happy with that. For Elesh Norn, we're actually getting close to being able to cast it. I suppose not that close just yet, but definitely castable, and if we find some way to discard it, then might be able to use our Unburial Rites on it. So set to wrath away his guys there. He's committed 2 creatures to the board. I've got double path to deal with anything else. Maybe a little bit early on the but with double path, I feel reasonably comfortable doing that. So he plays hero. I'm gonna path it. I could have played that Norn instead, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh no, I can't play Elesh Norn. Got Elesh Norn next turn though, so we're all good. Pardon me. So he plays another hero. Gonna run out Elesh Norn now. Hope he doesn't have a path. That would obviously be very annoying. Turns out he does, so that's a bit of a shame. Especially seeing as though if he killed it in some other way, we could get it back. But we do draw into gifts, which is pretty good. Can actually gifts for Iona and one other card. Then that kind of pretty much wraps up the game. All his cards are white, barring like Vile, I think. So pretty good against the monocolored deck. So we get Iona, also drop a Faithless Looting into the graveyard. That could have been anything, to be honest, but at least that has flashback. And now we are going to cast Unburial Rites, flashback, get Iona. That wraps up the game. Not a lot you can do there. So let's go on to game 2. So this is all lands plus a Snapcaster. It's kind of a risky keep, but we will be hitting all our land drops, which is definitely a positive thing. Yeah, I just took a chance on it. I mean, I do like being able to hit all our land drops. Drew into Helix, which is pretty good for us. It's going to drop an Arbiter. I led off with a fetch because I figured we probably want to crack our fetches before cards like Arbiter. He's going to attack for 2, going to Helix, and he's going to use Ghost Claws to get rid of one of my lands permanently. I suppose I should have thought about that a little bit longer, but doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Obviously we've got a lot of lands, so losing a few isn't too bad. Kitchen Mix is a little bit annoying, seems as though it can just die to removal. Snapcaster Helix is probably going to be our next play, and it's not the best against Sphinx. He's a Vial, we can't really do anything about that, so at the very least it's going to take a while to tick up. So I can Snapcaster Helix here. We block with a Snapcaster and then planned on taking out the Sphinx, but he's got a path for the Snapcaster, which is fine by me. I'm happy having more lands. It's always good for a control style deck. So he plays a Serra Avenger, which is also fine. I've drawn into Gifts actually, so we're just going to go get Iona again. Seems like the best thing we can do. He's going to play an Arbiter. Could bolt the Arbiter, but I think since we actually just have 2 mana up, we might as well just go for it. I don't know. If he had an Aven Mindcensor to go with it, then that's an issue, but it's not really a whole lot we can do about that, whether we bolt the Arbiter or not. So, turns out he doesn't have anything else. And put Iona into the graveyard. I'm going to bring it back with the Unburial Rites, naming white, which leaves him in a bad position. He does have Vial though, so he can put in some creatures, drop some creatures into play, but he's definitely not in the best of positions. So he attacks with everything, block the Avenger. It turns out he has Dismember, which is a pretty nice play. I didn't think about Dismember and didn't try and play around it, but fortunately we have the Bolt, which can kill the Serra Avenger, and that pretty much wraps up the game. He doesn't really have many more outs to Iona. I can Pyroclasm away his board next turn, and yeah, swinging for 7 will finish things up pretty quickly. So yeah, that was a fun match. Seems like a pretty good match for Gifts, obviously because monocolored decks don't really like Iona coming into play and naming their colour, and it's basically what our game plan for this matchup. Just get Iona, name white, and that's the game.